Trav Harrell 1713 says, love to hear just the bike, no music, and the kid dubbed over talking about what is going on at the time during the ride. That is a good idea, Trav, if I could call you that. That's a good idea, and you can thank your lucky stars, because we're actually gonna do that. I think it's a good idea because it'll save me time editing, trying to find music that'll fit, that YouTube will let me monetize, and Luke can just blabber and talk. And maybe it's a bad idea. Maybe he won't have anything good to say. I don't know. But I have some GoPro footage of Luke a few weeks ago at Jordan River. I figure I'm gonna call him up here. We'll have him word salad his way through a couple laps. We'll figure out if this is a good idea or not. And maybe this will be a new format that we do where the kids talk over their GoPro. Share what's going on through their head. So we'll do that here in a second. Luke's getting dolled up for you guys as we speak. So while we wait for him, I just want to give a shout out to the advocates. You know these guys, the advocates, injury attorneys that will fight for you when you get into an accident. Now, if you find yourself in an accident, it can happen in the blink of an eye. Your life can change out of nowhere, and it can be scary because you don't know what the outcome is going to be. The physical and the financial consequences of having an accident can take years. It can take years to recover from. So the important thing is that you have someone on your side to fight for you, and keep the insurance companies honest. Keep the insurance companies in line and make sure that they give you a fair settlement that you deserve. Now, I would love it if anybody that watches our videos, if anybody has experience with the advocates, if they go through this. I hope you don't, but if you have, I'd love to hear your story. I'd love for you guys not just to hear from me, but hear firsthand from people who have dealt with the advocates. So far, that hasn't happened. So far, we haven't had anybody that I know of that has had the pleasure of working with the advocates. So let's take a look at their reviews. A near 5-star rating, which is pretty good, but check this out, over 1,000 reviews. To maintain a 5-star rating with 1,000 reviews is pretty impressive. Paul says, I'm very impressed with both the professionalism and the personal touch. Lexi, the advocates took my personal injury case when many others wouldn't. Shirley, I was pleased the advocates took my case when all the other advertised attorneys wouldn't. Each person I dealt with were helpful and pleasant to deal with. You guys could keep reading. You could go through about 1,000 more reviews if you want, but just remember, if you are ever in an accident, the advocates are there to help you out. There's a link in the description. Click on it. They will review your case and give you a free consultation of what they think they can do for you. All right, now it's Luke's turn. All right, Luke, I know this was a few weeks ago, so you might not remember. I'll have to refresh your memory, but walk us through. What's going on? What are you thinking?
Right now, all I'm thinking is put the bar pad on each slower.
How many laps do you think 15 minutes is?
Well, it seems to be about 2-minute lap time, so 8.
You want to be careful when you're pulling off the track here because it's the highest speed part of the track, and people aren't really paying attention on who's coming down the start, so yeah, you want to be careful not to hit anybody. When I'm practicing, I'm either just going out and doing 20, 15-minute motos, just working on like going 80% pace the whole time. But other times I'll just maybe do like sections, you know, work on my style a little bit. I'm only ever going like 80 85% pace whenever I'm practicing. I'm never really going race pace. Don't really want to get hurt. While I'm just doing laps, I try to switch my lines up unless it's like blatantly obvious that there's a faster line. Like if there's an inside that I think is maybe quarter of a second, half a second faster than the outside, then don't know how that happened.
What happened there? Did your front end slide out?
No, I think I just missed the rut by a few inches. What? I can't, bro.
Work it!
I'm going too fast here. I'm making too many mistakes. Very inconsistent. I think I'm pretty wide open on this track, but I think one of the spots that I can make up a good amount of time is probably on the entries and corners, just carrying more speed into the ruts. Probably the main spot where I can make up time or do the triple. The thing I like about Jordan River is the track's always pretty like deep and they always have fresh mulch down, so never really have a problem getting traction coming out of corners, but I mean, there do get a lot of kickers on some of the jumps, so I try to watch out for those. Also try to watch out for the big bikes that I just cut off.
So they put big bikes and little bikes together sometimes, unless it gets too busy, and then they'll split them.
There's always still like little bikes in class, big bike class.
But
Sometimes we'll add a little bike class.
But if they split big bikes and little bikes, you usually go with the big bikes, right?
Yeah. I mean, sometimes it's nice because there's not very many little bikes there. I just hop in with the other like 65 kids. Just work on like lap times. Like, just have to switch up my lines to get out of the way. What I'm coming up on, but yeah, normally I'm fast enough to hit the big bikes. I was not riding very good. Yeah, I try to watch out for big bikes because I don't know if it's like an ego thing, but you know, I noticed that big bikes try to pass me back a lot harder than little bikes do. Like they'll kind of just be cruising and then I pass them and they start trying to get around me. You know, I don't know if that's because they don't want a little bike ahead of them or what, but I've had some times where big bikes get pretty aggressive with me, so I just try to stay away from them. Or where some guys just don't really watch out for me, so you kind of got to like pay attention on what's going on around you. I had one time where these two guys were doing starts, came down the straightaway and almost took me out. Yeah, and then right in this corner, like a lot of the times when I'm racing, this is the second to last corner. The last corner, I mean, really hard to get around someone right there. You're not right up on them. So a lot of times I try to take different lines, and then that's worked out for me, or almost worked out for me. Help me get a couple last second passes. If someone goes outside, I go inside. If someone goes inside, I'll carry more speed around the outside, and then I can normally get around them right there. This corner right up here. I almost prefer that line on a race day before the track gets too bad, but later in the day I'll start going inside because the corners get blown out. It's hard to get a lot of speed around there, but it's definitely faster at the start of the day to take that outside. Well, a couple corners I got passed on some outsides before that I didn't take it faster. And I started taking them, but it's always good to just be familiar with all the lines, especially in a race.
All right, well, while I got you here, Luke, Smoked Moto 525 has a question. When is Luke getting on a 125? Never.
Going straight to a 250.
No, you're staying on the Super Mini forever. What do you think?
Well, I want to train on my ski this winter on the Super Mini still, so maybe end of the year.
Yeah, so I think we're gonna try to do one more year on the Super Mini for Luke. A couple reasons for that. They're cheaper. Getting a big bike is a lot more expensive. They're more expensive to maintain. They're more expensive to buy. They're more expensive to repair. So if you're on a budget, it makes more sense, I think, to be on a cheaper bike so that way you could ride more and travel more. You rode Larry's bike. It was a Kawasaki, but you know, it was still a big bike. And you looked good on it. You looked like it wasn't too big for you. You look like you could very easily get comfortable on it. But the way I look at it is like, let's keep you on a little bike for a little bit longer. You're riding really good on the Super Mini. You're progressing. We haven't even been like training or riding that much, but the amount of progress that I've seen and just the confidence and bike control and aggression has progressed so much in the past year. I really would love to see if we could actually do training, if we actually had a program. Like we do ride, we do train, but I want to call it a program. We actually had a program. I think that you could do really good on the Super Mini next year. So I don't know. I don't know what the point would be to move up, because you will be the oldest kid in the class. You'll be one of, the last year that you could be on the Super Mini. Do I care? No. I just think it would be rad. I enjoy watching you ride. I enjoy watching you ride the Super Mini. I think you sound really good on the Super Mini. I think we should keep it going a little bit longer. What are your thoughts?
Want to see how much money I can make on the Super Mini at Mini MX.
Yeah, that's another thing is, okay, so Mini MX, he won a couple races. You were always top 3. So he would have made money with contingency. Unfortunately, they have a rule, the KTM or Husky contingency. You can only ride a bike that's like 3 years old. He's on a 2020, so his bike is 5 years old. So if we could get him a newer bike, he could potentially, if he continues to do really well and win races on the Super Mini, he could win like $1,000 next year.
I already won over 1,000 this year.
Oh, he would have won over 1,000 this year if he was on a newer bike.
I think I could make like 2,000 next year.
So it would be worth it for him just to clean house and make some contingency for one. Plus, I feel like if you're gonna move up, I don't want my kids moving up to the big bike class until they are like, I don't want you guys going into big bike beginner or D class. No offense to you D riders, I would be a D rider if I was on the track. No offense to you guys, but I've seen enough big bike beginner D races to be like, I don't want my kids out there with those guys. D class riders, they don't hold their line. You don't know if they're gonna jump or not jump. They're all over the place. It's just too risky. You got a better chance of getting landed on or getting hurt or landing on someone in the D class. C class, people pretty much seem to know what they're doing for the most part. The only thing is, like, if you guys are going into C class, I'd like you to be competitive and be mid-pack at least. Lillian is like mid-pack or back of the pack in C class. but I'd rather have her be back of the pack in C class than in the D class. So I don't see a reason to moving you up unless you grow, which is another thing that kind of sucks about this sport is you have to pick now what class you're gonna do next year. And sometimes kids will pick a super mini class, but then they grow in 3 or 6 months. But if we were gonna try to go to Loretta's air qualifiers, they start in a few months. So you gotta start training now. So it's like you gotta pick your bike now, what you're going to be riding for next summer. So why not? We're just gonna stick with the Super Mini. We're gonna try to give Luke the best shot possible to see how well he could do next year. In the Super Mini, we'll do Mini MX. We'll hopefully do some other series and just put you in a good position to go dominate those young kids.
Be like the Christian Craig of the Super Mini class.
Yeah, it'd be the Christian Craig. Really, like, if you do go pro, it's not gonna be when you're 17, it's not gonna be when you're 18. Levi Kitchen didn't turn pro until he was like 20, 21. So why not let you ride the Super Mini class and then you have a few years ahead of you to still do big bike class and then see if you want to try to go pro, if we are in a position to fund you going pro. But right now we're not. So you might as well stay on the Super Mini because we can't do that right now. So you cool with that?
Yeah, just gonna hear about it from all the country kids on the Cali 250 that said they got on the 250 when they were 13 though.
All right, so the other half of the question for Lillian, I think we will save that for another video, but that one might actually be more interesting. But thank you, Smoked Moto 525 for the question. Luke is celebrating it by getting something to eat. So if you guys have any, I like that. If you guys have any questions, sometimes it's hard for us to think of things, new things to film or content when we're pretty much doing the same thing over and over every day. So if you have a question, if there's something burning inside that you need to know, feel free to ask. Just leave it below, and who knows, maybe we'll answer it in a future video, unless it sucks. If it's a crappy, sucky, stupid question, then we probably won't.